almost 5 minutes after. So we're 2 minutes from the that critical window. So mission completed. I'm out of the trade. I bought the plunge, and I'm getting out of the floor here. It's 11 o'clock, and Europe's closed. So another Wednesday, freak out, new low, come back. Well, this is the big screaming back into the floor. And I guess the way to really make money on that is to put bigger orders deeper, which is a little bit counterintuitive because when it's going down, you're thinking, why am I buying this? It's going against me. This whole volley here, where it's just trapped in this 50 pip window, just keep on banging back and forth on 4-hour chart. That is tradable if you're that kind of guy. If you could do that. Or you could just put your buy limits at the edge, on top edge, bottom edge, in a 10 pip window, 8 pip window, what have you, and just keep scalping that and just keep you're going to have to reload that gun though because you're going to keep remilking it. Here you could, if you're robots that are kind of tuned to get into ATRs that drop low, this is their window of opportunity, or if that's your kind of trade. Ultimate breakout, that's if I had a 8-hour chart or a 12-hour chart. I think you go at MetaTrader 5 and you run those weird time frames. Or you can just add this up. This is 12 hours of nothing, 12 pip range, and then you fall through the floor. 100 pips down, 100 pips back up. So if you started buying, if you bought every 25 pips, I know these are simple trades, but think about it. So, and I'm selling up into here. So today I'm selling in above this, but the better trade is the higher up trade, which is the least likely to get filled in a way. But that's the whole contest. If I put orders in here that last 8 hours, then some of these didn't fill. So I had to put in 12 hours or a whole day. I had to commit to buying new lows, actually underneath the week. So trapped under that floor and then scalp to that floor, or wait till it come back to the closing price here, which is so most of these 4-hour candles are 25 pip wicks, but not on the top side. And people like to say, well, look at it's rejecting, and it means this and that. It doesn't mean anything to me other than, God, I wish I would have traded that fucking wick. That's really what it means. When I see that, I'm like, man, that's a dumbass trade. That is so stupid. Now, you could say I'm selling here for a pullback of 20 to 50 pips, right to here. I think that's, or you just got filled. You're up on that trade right now because you put some sell limits up there, right? And you capture this. So you can see how thin they slice it. I guess this is that big secret you're paying for over there at ICT, this order block idea, right? It makes a new high, right? This is the obvious one. Even the brothers understand this one. Everybody understands this. This is so easy. You just sell new highs. You're selling up there, but what if you just sold up to, what if you stepped in front of this vacuum above here? Sell. Okay, well, you're kind of getting crushed. Because you can't ignore that. That was begging to be smashed into because it was pent up demand. This is what happens when you turn off the economy. That's why there's a V on the stock market. People are like, dude, now I got to fucking hit the throttle to play catch up. You dumb fuckers. So now I got to hit the fucking throttle and I got to fucking order extra shit. Now there's over inventory, right? So then we get this giant swing psychosis. Here, once again, pulls back. I'm buying that. So I'm buying that because I'm like, yeah, this could take another run north, right? It's playing, and it ricocheted off here. You could have sat here on the half an hour and pulled the trigger on that. I just put in limits. So I just put in limits trailing here, and they haven't picked me up. What's the difference? How did I get in that trade? And I should be getting something right now because we're coming up into the floor, right? We're coming up into here. Sell, right? Your whole position. Okay, how much did you buy? And if you're going to do just the, so here's new low, buy new low theory. Here's your outlier, whatever you want to call it. You're going to buy that. And don't get your hopes up that we're going to go and take out this, right? Because that doesn't happen till later on. Because you don't have enough inventory yet. You got to pick up more tickets, make new lows, and here it is. So you could have put orders in here in a very narrow window. I mean, what are we talking? This is 8 pip window. So this would be the optimal trade entry. But even at that, you can't pick the exact pip. You know, that when you put your ticket in there, you're probably going to overpay if you put it right there. So you took 8 pips of heat, $800, and then you made your big money. If you held through here, now this is a very quick trade, quick and dirty. It's just, you know, it's not always this good of a ratio. Consider this, having a 10 pip stop on that and riding that whole engulf till it goes full tilt auction. It takes out this ledge. Actually, it comes all the way up into the high of the day. It does a full. And kind of the reason why it doesn't move a lot, the euro, but wow, there's so much liquidity and the spread's so tight that it's really a kind of accurate chart. It doesn't have a lot of bad spread in it, so there's not a lot of big wicks. Like if you go to the 4-hour chart, yeah, I guess this is a big wick. But it's not as choppy. Yeah, this is like a 12 pip wick on the 4-hour chart, whereas the euro and yen, get yourself a nice, look at the wicks on the pound here. Wait, update the pound there. Okay, so that would be a sell there. Right at the moment, I'd be cashing out. Okay, here's like a 50 pip wick. That's a pretty tight market. But, you know, people are selling here. And I think it's just going to range now a little bit here. We still have we could still go up a little bit. The place to really put the orders in is going to be starting right here on this top of this 8-hour. I guess you should call them, what do you call it? Oh, I'm sorry, liquidity pool. You got to get the words right? So you can call it what you want. You know, this is the thing. Whatever you need to have happen to, like some people are using horoscopes and they're using, I like to take the newspaper and look for my horoscope and then take that and chop it up and then put that, take a hairdryer and blow it around and then take a picture of that and then bring it in and edit it. And then I watched some stupid thing with this. I got trapped into watching put on Facebook, some guy smashing a vase and rebuilds it. I'm like, you know, this is just, why am I watching? Where are we going with this? And I didn't know how to fast forward through the thing, so I'm like, but now I'm making up memes. For my anger management, I've decided I'm going to go build memes. It's like poetry, you know. It's high-end poetry with photos. It's poetry with photos. These memes. But yeah, people are cashing out there, but people are shorting that for at least 25 pips or some kind of pullback on the pound. I'm sure if you want to go 5-minute chart, you can justify it. But see, now look at 5-minute chart. Now this is the problem with these kind of trades. So you go to a 5-minute chart, you're like, well, let's just trade the 5-minute chart. No shit. Like look at this 10-minute pullback right to almost here, kind of overshoots, you know. I mean, the real breakout is here. That actually, in my mind, that's kind of like been taken out. This is the real pullback, right? This is because this is the newest. This old one here, it already blew the doors off that. So I would say this is not even in the picture. And when people take that as a look back, okay, to say this, that, and the other thing, Okay, that's great, but let's face it, this was the retagging of the breakout of that doji on that 5 minute pound. Boom. I mean, and you had to know that there was some guy with sell limits above that saying, "Oh yeah, I'll sell in this window. I'll commit to this 25 pip window." So the pound. Be very careful. You would have, and you're only going to make 30 pips on that. Now, if you sold right there at the optimal trade entry window of, and we'll give it the spread. This is like 4 pips here. Right? Is it not? Okay, so here. And it's just there in the blink of an eye. I don't think you have a chance to pull that on the 1 minute, but it's probably a double top on the 1 minute. This is going to change. So going to go to the 1 minute chart and then hold that piece there. That window. I guess I got to scrunch it up now because it's 5 times. Right there, 1 minute chart. So they would have tagged your limit, right? And you had your predetermined 25 pip winner built into that. And maybe you had even a better winner. This is the top become a bottom from the 5 to the... So what you saw in the 5, yeah, you could take a 1 minute line chart and you can see pretty close, right? That's the spread's about 1 here, plus this is 1.5 with the commission. So right here, this is definitely going to be prime. But you're going to say stuff like, well, yeah, here's the fractal of that kind of entry. Right there. See this slightly lower low? Now, this is available on the 1 minute chart. You don't have to wait for a once-in-a-lifetime entry in the daily gap. So, like, if you're really... some people say, well, what about the 1 minute chart? Okay, if you put a buy limit here, I don't know if they'd fill you. Would that be a nice trade with a 4 pip stop on some hairy position? And right now it's a buy, right? Just pulled back up a little bit more. And it looks like you could say stuff like, well, here's my trend line on the 1 minute chart. But yeah, trend lines are ready to be broken. Okay. Ears get thin. It's late in the day. Now maybe a drift into tonight, and then we finish off the week. We kind of just retrace a little bit more. I bought the euro versus the pound here on a plunge. I have a little bit of that going. Where is it? That chart's okay, so gold. How's gold doing? That looks like gold came back to life a little bit there. So yeah, gold's kind of... So this is where people get in these gold trades, and then they would look at it and go, oh gosh, it's right almost, it's only $50 below $2,000, and if, I don't know, is this a good trade? I don't know. So it looks like it's about to break in a classic charting sense, and, a lot of these patterns never work out. You could make the argument, we broke the trend line, we pulled back, now we got confirmation. That's one view, gold trade. The other view is, wait a minute, I'm more conservative, so what I'm waiting for confirmation of this trend line breakout. And we're about to do that. I'll wait till that breaks out. And I'm sure some goober's going to put a buy stop here. And I would say if you're going to do that, just put a sell limit there. You got to be nuts by then. Well, yeah, I like confirmation. Okay, no, I can't. But if you kept buying, and every time it came just to here, look at all the buyers building a long position, anticipation breakout, doesn't have to. We could still hem and haw. Look at all the hemming and hawing here. And everybody probably thought, well, certainly here this trend line is going to hold. You can see the problem with the trend line, though. This breakout, pullback. This is where you could say anything you want. Breaks the trend line, comes to here, confirmation, sell now. Sell now. 4-hour chart, like I said, I don't trade gold. I ain't got time for this. Look at all this bullshit. This is the 4-hour chart. Look at all this. So then you just have to forget that stuff. Because if you're on the 4-hour chart, just trade the 4-hour chart. So it'll be like this. Okay, here's gold supply. So buy down here. That's support. Here's resistance. It's not one number. That's support resistance. I'm going to buy gold here. Like if I was a gold trader, I'd be like, yeah, let's buy some. Let's buy an ounce here. You know, let's buy another ounce here. We don't get filled. No big deal. But we'll buy in this area. Just pick an area. I mean, you go and buy one house. And I said this a million times. Do you have a dealership with one car in it? I have one really expensive car. Please come buy my car. Are you nuts? Look at this one. You got sell limits up here in this. Is this turtle soup up here? Is that what he calls it? Turtle soup? I'm trying to get this right. I'm going to get this one right. And look at this nice ledge on the 4-hour right there. Man, look at that thing. You can say stuff like, well, here's the pivot from back there. Yeah, but like if I'm here, I'm just thinking, if I sell, what happens when we take this out? Are buyers coming in? Is this void going to be important looking forward? If there's buyers coming into that, and look at how you could just keep on scalping this as it kind of topples down away on these bounces here. What else? Okay, here's my pound. I'm on euro versus pound. So I'm long the euro here. And this wackadoodle setup. Wow. What a ferocious currency. Euro versus pound. I mean, these guys are they're out of control. So if you had weekly tickets in here, or you're thinking next week, yeah, this is always going to be a ripe area. I don't think the Fibonacci, by the time you get that tool out, I could already have my orders in. That's the problem there too, is that I know people want to draw these things because they went and they learned them. So they're like, well, I got to do what I learned. And okay, go ahead. You can do that. But it's just, eventually, instead of putting in a support line, drawing a line, you're just going to put an order in there. That looks like a good place to buy. A lot of good places to buy. So Bitcoin looks like it could still tumble into this abyss. We don't really know. It's possible. Like right here. Once you start taking out this thing, this could be just like a zipper. This could be just the biggest crush. So conservatively, you're going to start buying down here. And maybe when Christmas comes, you're down there. We got to wait for the second wave of the pandemic. Are you fucking nuts? People are so ridiculous. Can you see how people are just so over the top? They're kind of like this market, you know? So I see a lot of similarities between people's behavior and the market. They seem to be doing the same thing here. That's the 1 minute British pound, by the way. One pip spread here at the climbing the wall of worry, they call that. I think we could just squeeze out a few more pips to the north side and just kind of recover from the punishment of the world. I think this also, you can make the argument here that I think you're only allowed to have 6 people at a party in Britain this morning. So, you got to kind of tighten things up a little bit over there. Because you can see what it's doing to the pound. Come on, people. Look, this is what happens when you don't fucking wear your mask over there. Look at this shit. So here was the ultimate floor in almost a 50 pip window. 5-minute chart. It's just a wonderful feeling to have your limits in there and just be like, yeah, I'm all set. I ordered in advance, ordered extra, bulk orders, like a business. Trading's a business. Get your orders in there. And I made it $2,600 here. We're trying to make it to $3,000 by the end of the week, so gotta have goals, Okay, it's almost the bottom of the hour. And we're just gonna, it's Wednesday. It's kind of dead center middle of the week. It's noon, it's Wednesday, and at the beginning of the month too. Big deal. And everything's kind of coming together there. I think last night I was talking about this chart here. Now this daily chart, you're like, wow. So here you'd already be totally flat on this low from here. Mission completed, right? And you're going to leave yourself with a hammer. If you close right here at the end of the day, you'll have a hammer. And for some people, that's confirmation enough. I got a hammer. But if you were long from here down, now you're out. And I talked about this last night, and I said, I don't think that target's coming in the next few hours. Because look how long that took, right? We had to come walking down into here. I know it looks very dramatic on here, like, wow, it just went ba-boom. No, this took a long time to melt down in, and then it whipped through that. And now we're curling up and got one less. This is the trend buyer's entry. One pullback buy and drift up into right here. And then I'm going to take some more of it off. And we know that's going to be the place most people are going to cash out. I would start new selling once again in this shelf. And these things are showing up all the time. Left behind by the Corona shock of the Corona shock. So here it kind of looks like, oh yeah, I could see it coming up to there, but look at this. Look how far we've come down. And this is all from not wearing your mask, people. 6 feet apart, please. Even while fucking, please. They got these new kind of extenders they're working on. So you get the thrust. You know, you want to get the right. You want it to feel like it's real. Make believe. Look at the punishment the dollar CAD. Top tick Tommy buys the breakout up there. How'd that work out for you, buddy? Well, let's wait for confirmation. Wow, look at that. See, the people look at that and they go, man, that's in a downtrend. I should have traded that. I mean, that's a long time. I don't know. I got that kind of time. Whew. Yeah, so I'm long the dollar. Well, I'm going to get long the dollar. I was long the dollar. I'm waiting to get long if it pulls back on the dollar yen. So I put buy limits down here. I got sell limits up here on dollar yen. And this is waffling, and this is a real low volatility instrument. Well, look at this thing. Just dead. Really dead, but this spread's pretty tight here. You can run denser tickets. Because if you look at this 5-minute chart, you're like, oh, okay. But here's a weird thing. All these can go up. The dollar yen can go up. The euro to the pound. The euro. I mean, these currencies can all move in the same direction. It doesn't matter. Okay, there was a scalp there. You could have had. You'd be up in this trade right now. Just not a lot of pips, but you know that's the seller's window. But then it turns around to be a buy. You know, right after that. In fact, this was a buy, and you could have. That was your target. So if you bought at the end of the hour, and when it dipped a little bit lower there, see, so it did the same thing it did. That's kind of this top of the hour, bottom of the hour stuff, but it did the same thing. So last night came down. That's the end of the hour, the end of the half hour, and then it dipped a little bit lower, and then it took off. Like, look at how this one, for people that are thinking, well, this is a bottom becoming a top, so I'll just wait for this thing to close up here. And then I'll pull the trigger. The thing actually overshoots. And if you had your sell limits up on this rooftop, they picked that up also. So I think the best approach is dual approach. You got market orders that you can use when things are obvious. And you're like, oh, I think I missed it. You could have bought here and scrambled and bought at the market there if you didn't have a limit in, right? Because what are you going to do? You're going to have to chase it. And if you're on the half hour, you're like, oh, you know what? It's okay because I don't mind chasing a little bit here because I could see we could punch through here and other sellers up here. I want to sell here too, maybe. So it just becomes execution. There's more flexibility because instead of analyzing the market, just trade it. Just make things so that they're not frightening because of the volatility. It's going to be a kind of just committing to say, well, does this look like a good place to sell up here? I'm really not going to worry about what is our side doing at that point and those kind of things because there's enough bars here that you're going to get that pattern that you've been looking for. The chances of it randomly happening are good enough, don't you think? Why such an emphasis on this? Oh, God, this Ranko and oh, man, I don't know how people do it, honestly, because if I saw Ranko was telling me that this was in a sell, so I just pulled the trigger because I had a candle that turned a certain color, and then they come and hunt my stop. And I'm just saying because if the market gets volatile and I'm running too tight a stop and I'm using this Ranko or this cloud system and I'm not thinking about, well, what if the news comes out and fucks up my charts, as they say? Well, I mean, come on. How can you do that? Don't you want to know the inside details of what's really going on here? Why would you want to smooth out the data? Okay, at a glance, yeah, I get it. And of course, if you're not trading, you're a low frequency trader, who cares, right? If you're trading with a 200 pip stop, yes, you could trade Ranko. But if you're trying to scalp the inventory on the prices, then it's going to be placing orders in logical places, and it's more like a if-then situation. It's not about, do I have a signal? I have a bias. I have a system that says we're in an uptrend, so look for a pullback. What if the other trade, the counter trend trade, is a better trade from a structure standpoint? Shouldn't you take that one? Well, I guess eventually you end up there. End up at a pure structure situation because that's what's really holding it together. The glue together is the structure. What if gold does go to 3,000? Then it could probably go to 4,000, right? If there's hysteria. But I don't see it. I think you're seeing the last wave of this nonsense because it's obvious what's going to happen now. Everything's, at least in my opinion, maybe I have a distorted view of the world, but the way I see it, yeah, you're done. You got October, November, December, the end of the year. And it's all going to come together. It's all done. There's no more people dying from corona. There's more people testing positive, asymptomatic. What the fuck is that? I'm sure we could hunt down a bunch of diseases. You ever hear of Ebola? I don't ever hear of, somebody said that malaria, I don't know what it was coming back. Something really bad. Leukemia, I don't know what it was. And I'm like, yeah, look at this, life's, and not to mention the fact that people still can't fucking drive their cars out there. I'm hearing about accidents all the time. Like, really? Like, wait a minute. You got airbags, you got a fucking seatbelt, you've got like power steering, disc brakes all the way around. Well, maybe the guys that are crashing don't have all that. And you still can't fucking drive your car. I got the solution. Self-driving cars. That's brilliant. Then we could just atrophy and all become fucking zombies. But yeah, I want to play around with the robot again, but I got to get a faster computer. This computer, I was trying to test my robot, and I ran out of memory. I found that amazing. How can I run out of memory? But I did. And I kept rebooting, and then I don't have a bigger hard drive in here, so because some guy sent me a breakout system or a grid system. And I looked at it before the thing crashed. I took a look at it, and yeah, this trading by hand and thinking about what's really going on definitely makes more money. But it's not to say you can't have some slot bot out there doing some kind of dumb shit task like throwing in limits, at least a limit arrays that last 15 minutes. Because when I'd have to do that, I'm like, oh God, the market just tanked and I missed that fucking entry because my orders expired too quickly. So not taking enough risk time-wise. In other words, if you're gonna if you're gonna say you're gonna sell options like write puts and calls, you would make more money if the premium was bigger in the beginning and it had a long decay. But the problem there is the exposure to getting destroyed, like the natural gas guy. You got on the wrong side of that market. It's like a futures trade. It's worse. It's nothing like Forex is not. Forex is zero risk compared to that trade because you would just lose more than you've even got in the account. You have to add to it just so they don't sue you. You don't want to be in that position. Well, Forex, I mean, you could have a negative balance and they would zero it out for you. Most brokers would say, well, I don't care. You fucking traded here enough. We zeroed out, or well, here's your bonus points or whatever the fuck. They used to give you like an iron or plate. So you go to the bank and make a deposit of like $5,000. They'd be like, well, here's like an ironing board. And next time you get an iron or something if you're lucky. But they're paying so much interest back then. If you would have parked your money in a bank account, you make 5% just sitting on your ass. It's so funny back then. Looks like I just got another ticket or something there. Something happened. Those are the good old days. Oh, Jesus. Oh, please. So I got this Android phone, and people got pulled into some conversation, and I didn't know what to say, so I asked this person next to me, hey, what do I do about this? And they said, well, I don't know. They were trying to hack my phone, and I said, here, I got it. I'll just say fuck you, and then or fuck off, and then they left me alone. I guess they thought I was not polite in the conversation, but I'm like, the guy's got a goat's head, and he's like, look at this goat I killed, and the guy goes, you can make goat burgers today? I'm like, oh my God. I got sucked into some really primal redneck conversation. It's like, okay, let's go downtown now. Let's go to the city. Earl, take me to the city. So that thing's kind of popped its cork. The show's over. Anyways, that's the close of Europe now. Buying this on pullback, though. I got tons of buy limits in here waiting for this to fill. We picked up 2K already. And this is wackadoodle. This thing could just crush down, but I'm willing to take that. I'm willing to take that exposure here. Okay. Alrighty then. So you can go back to your nap. If you were taking a nap. I gotta go watch politics. I mean, this is the funniest shit I've ever seen in my life. I mean, it's just, I can't miss a moment. The next 55 days is pure carnival, and it's just the ultimate shit show. Some guy's name on Twitter is It's All a Shit Show or something. So, I mean, it is just a dumpster fire beyond belief. And you can't even believe it. It's almost as if, I think when Kamala Harris comes up to a guy and says he's a hero for being a rapist, and she's like, used to be a policeman, we've really got something going on. So I want to get back to this show. It's unfucking believable. Like, never in my life. And I guess I can imagine that if you go back during Nixon, when Nixon was in office, if they had the internet, it wouldn't be any different. So it's just amazing. Or Reagan was in office. It's more like Reagan times, really, but it's kind of like Nixon meets Reagan because you got 1960s overlapped on top of Reagan 90s. And it's like a harmonic pattern. It's a Gartley. It's a political Gartley is what the fuck it is. So I got to go watch it.